Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new video. Today I want to recommend some books that I think you should pick up this autumn. These are some of my favorite cozy reads. One of them is, it's not like I love it, but it is quite entertaining. And then we have a couple of classics. I usually read classics a lot in October, November, December. And yeah, I just wanted to recommend some that I think are spooky enough for this fall. So let's just get started with the one that I said it was entertaining. And that's The Exorcist by William Peter Blatty. Is that how you pronounce his last name? I'm not sure. So I read this in one sitting, which is so weird because I never do that. It is quite interesting and entertaining, but you know, at the same time, I didn't love it, but I was sort of intrigued while reading. I knew the story because I watched the film when I was a kid and I was traumatized for days. And I still think the film is quite good and somewhat accurate. Obviously, some things are missing, but that's normal. But anyway, if you're just looking for something entertaining and, you know, just sort of a horror classic, I would totally recommend The Exorcist. And that's pretty much what I have to say about this. Then we have some classics, and I'm gonna start with one that is just a favorite, and I think a lot of people love this book, and that's Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. You know this story, right? I don't think I have to talk about the plot. Again, it's just the perfect book if you're looking for something spookish and just a classic at the same time. I highly recommend an edition like this one. I talked about it on my back to school teacher book tag. I forget the title. I'll link it somewhere. If you are looking for an edition of Frankenstein, like a really good edition, I recommend one like this because you get the earliest draft and you get the revised text by Percy Shelley. If you read the earliest draft, you get footnotes like this, and you can go to the revised text and see what changed from one to the other. And I think that's just interesting from an editing point of view. But at the same time, you don't actually have to read the earliest draft. Some things are missing. You can just read the revised text. But yeah, if you're looking for like a really cool edition, I recommend one like this. But I love it. I love this cover. The only thing that I was really upset about when reading Frankenstein, and this is a spoiler, so if you haven't read the book, just wait for me to put my hand down. But Elizabeth's death is just ridiculous. And you know, that was the only thing, like why would it happen? I mean, he was so Victor, you idiot. But other than that, I loved it. Now no spoiler, but some of my favorite passages are the ones about the monster, and just from the monster's perspective. So if you haven't read this, yes, you should, you totally should. Then we have one that I read last year for my seasonal TBR, and that's The Haunted Hotel by Wilkie Collins. I actually have other stories in this edition, but I haven't read the short stories yet. I read The Haunted Hotel. It is like 100-something pages. It was really interesting. It has that spooky vibe, but at the same time it's sort of a mystery. I wanted to read something short by Wilkie Collins because I don't know him as an author, and I really wanted to just see if I liked his style before I read Woman in White. And basically that's what happened. That's why I decided to pick this up. I really enjoyed it. I think if I had to say something negative about The Haunted Hotel would be that there are some characters at first that seem like really interesting, and you get a lot of information on them, and then they just disappeared. But then again, I mean, that's not major, but it was just something that I didn't like. Nevertheless, still recommend The Haunted Hotel. I really want to read the short story, so I might do that this October. Sorry, got a text. I might do that this October, who knows. But yeah, pick this one up. And we have another classic. This is one of my favorite classics of all time, one of my favorite writers, and that's Anne Bronte's Agnes Gray. I love Anne Bronte's writing. I think she's amazing. She's spooky in a very like real way. You know, talking about how evil people are and just the awful things they say and do. It's just so real, and that's why it's spooky. I love her writing. This is quite short. I also read this in one sitting. I started The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. Unfortunately, I was going through a reading slump a few months ago and I decided to put it down. I was really enjoying it, but at the same time I wasn't really in a mood, so I don't want to go through a bad experience and just hate the novel because I was going through a reading slump and I was forcing myself to read it. But I was really enjoying it. This, obviously, you get those beautiful descriptions of the British countryside, and I'm here living for it. So if you're looking for a classic that is sort of fast-paced, I would recommend this one. There's nothing spooky about this book, but I would say that the way she talks about certain characters, the way she describes them, because they are just horrible, I think that's spooky enough. Because that's just human nature. I think she nailed it in terms of portraying evil people in society. So I really enjoyed the commentary as well, and obviously you get a lot of it from Charlotte Bronte. She's not my favorite Bronte at all, but you can also read this one. I think that a lot of people miss out because they never read Anne Bronte. I think she's a little bit underrated, and people should read Agnes Gray. And the last one, my favorite Bronte, Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights. Now let's talk about this copy. This is a Collins Classic. Collins Classics. I really want to get like a really nice one. I was looking through Book Depository and I asked a friend to help me choose because, you know, this is one of my favorite books of all time, and I have this really lame copy. I mean, no hate, I have like loads of Wordsworth classics, and I also have a couple of Transatlantic something. What's the name of this? Yes, Transatlantic Press. These are cheaper editions and I usually don't care, but because it's one of my favorite books, I think I should get a nicer edition. And I really hate the cover, to be perfectly honest. So I think I'm gonna get one soon. Regardless, I love Wuthering Heights. I think lots of people like this book. This is not for everyone. It's super heavy. The characters are horrible. The story is horrible. Not the story itself. Like, the story is beautiful. It's beautifully written. I think Emily Bronte was ahead of her time, for sure. You know, I'm sorry, Emily Bronte all the way. I don't know how people, you know, think about Charlotte Bronte before Emily. No hate, you know. Charlotte has her social commentary, which is very important, but I always think that some of her stories just, I don't know, they're sort of flat. Everybody talks about Jane Eyre. I hated the ending. I just think it's ridiculous. It makes no sense, but that's me. So maybe one day I might film a discussion, but regardless, I'm still going to read Charlotte Bronte this season because I decided I wanted to read Villette or Villette. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I don't understand why people talk about Charlotte Bronte all the time and they always forget about Anne and Emily. And Emily was ahead of her time. This story is gripping, is emotional. Characters are really heavy and dark. And so I totally understand when people say that they DNF the book, because this is not for everyone. Definitely. I totally get it. But nevertheless, it is one of my favorite books. I love this book. Give it a shot. Maybe you'll end up loving it or not. But if you don't, just know that it's normal. Not everyone loves Wuthering Heights. It's very difficult. These are my recommendations. Let me know down below if you have read any of these and if they are also like cozy reads for you or not. And let me know if you have any books that you would like to recommend for me to pick up this autumn. And yeah, today is October 1st, so I decided to film this video. This video will not be up on October 1st, unfortunately. But yay, October is here. The weather is like, it's a little bit cold and it was raining this morning. I was just so happy. And that's it, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and I'll talk to you very soon. Bye!